I believe we are live. Yeah, I think we are. Yep, we are definitely live. And for some reason, I'm showing a Wi-Fi signal. And I am plugged in. So I don't know why. Am I coming in all right? Can you guys hear me and see me okay? Well, everyone's here. Sugar Bridges and Francesca. There's Jean and Dawn and 12 Pearls. Wow, everyone's here. And Regina's here. EM is here. Jody. Oh, that is awesome. There's Brother John and Paranormal Highway. Oh, thank you all for showing up. I'm on, for some reason, this thing's showing that I'm on Wi-Fi. It keeps clicking off of Wi-Fi and then it's hopping back on. I don't know why that is. I am not on Wi-Fi. We are plugged in, unless it's picking up something. Oh, there's Samuel. Awesome. Thank you all for hopping over. And I also wanted to thank everyone who prayed for our brother Tommy. I did hear from Tommy. It's been about an hour ago. He messaged me, and he's doing good. He woke up in recovery, and then off and on sleeping, getting the rest that he needs. But he is doing good so far, and I'll keep you guys posted on his recovery and as the road continues for him. Oh, my brother Avy's here, and there's Butch. Awesome. Everyone's showing up. And I thought I'd seen Dundee Woolley in there. Yep, there he is. Dundee Woolley's here. Awesome. Thank you all for hopping in. If I missed you, please forgive me. It's not intentional. I was running very behind. Something's going on with my computer. I haven't used it in a very long time. And now I just got something popped up asking me if I want to turn a light off. I have no idea what that is. But I can't click on it to remove it. It's covering up the comments, so I can't see the comments right now. I don't know what that is. But it's doing something. When I move the mouse over it, it gives me the little hourglass thing. So it's doing something. I wonder if it'll click anyway. No. I have no idea. I don't know what that's doing. But this computer's been acting up horribly bad. I've got to get that thing off the screen because I cannot see. Oh, this is so aggravating. Guys, I'm sorry. The computer has not done this before. I'm trying to click on it, but I keep getting an hourglass symbol. I can see partial comments. There's 38s is here. And Sandra and Malachi. Oh, there it is. Come on. Get out. My computer's running super, super slow. And I do not know. I'm not a computer person. But if we have problems and we can't get this through, if it's acting up to the point that it's messing up what we're trying to accomplish, what I'll do is I could shut down and come right back up on the tablet. I know it'll run fine. It's just a much smaller screen. Oh, I can see better. I can see real good now. Awesome. And my wife is here. Her and Rosie are watching the show as well. Just give you a brief update. I've been working on that doggone truck for, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks. 3 radiators. It's been nonstop. We went in yesterday to Cloud Automotive in Bonifay, and they deal in a lot of tractor parts, farming type stuff. And I asked him, would you by chance have a fitting? Because my oil cooler lines, they screw into some fitting, which screws into the radiator. And I've went through 3 sets of fittings, and none of them are the same thread as my oil cooler lines. And I'm not a mechanic. I don't understand how that stuff works. And they pulled out 3 or 4 radiators that would fit the truck. And none of them, we couldn't get the fittings to go into any of them. And one of the guys working there is their tractor mechanic. And he walked over and looked at it, and he said, well, that one right there is the one that goes to the truck. And I showed him the fitting. And he just kind of looked at me and looked at the fit. And then he took my old hose that I brought with me, and he screwed it straight into the radiator. And he said, you don't need those fittings. Some vehicles require them, some don't. But I have a 99 Suburban, and he said in 99 is when they created the Silverado model. And so the first half of the year was the regular Suburban, second half was the Silverado. And the parts are different. They're not interchangeable. And so he advised me when I go to get parts, tell him I got a 98. Don't even tell him it's a 99, and I won't have any issues. But anyhow, I come home, tried it the way he suggested. The truck is running. An hour later, we're running. So praise the Lord for that. Oh, Brother Danny's here also. Thank you, Danny. Thank you so much. Jody Phoebus is here. Wow, a bunch of you guys are here. Thank you. Well, we have got, we've got some more articles we're going to do tonight. And I haven't had time to get them exactly organized, but that's all right. I just got to remove one pack out here. This is the ones that I did from Hathaway Bridge the other day. And I did it in a video. Then I uploaded the video. So we won't need that one. But we have got a continuation of the attacks. We have more stuff that will be coming that Brother Don is going to be sending us. Hey, Butch and Sharon. And yeah, we've got just a little bit of everything tonight. It's not a lot. We're going to go through it, though. And Brother Don already has other stuff that is in the postal system coming my direction now. So we will continue to move on it. We will, if it's all right with you guys, we will continue the disappearances and the supposed alleged Dogman attacks when we get finished with the other articles, if y'all are okay with that. Hey, Sandra. Wow. So weird. Let me get us a starting point. It's not a whole lot of them. It's not a lot of articles, what we have here. I did not have time to get them ready before we started. I moved the mouse over the live button so that all I had to do was click it. And Gracie came in here. That's our deaf puppy. And somehow I clicked the button. I don't know if I clicked it or if it's just part of whatever the computer's doing that it done it itself. It's doing all kind of weird stuff. On the thumbnail, I want to let you all know the thumbnail for this one, what I put up, that was Brother Steve sent that to me. I seen it this morning. I don't know if he sent it today or yesterday. I'm not sure. But that's a screenshot, the video where I put out the other game camera the other day, the cellular game camera. In that video, after I had installed the camera and I was walking down that road toward that blue barrel, there was a figure. And he watched it in the video. And from what I gather, he played it frame by frame. And it looks like a shadow man. It absolutely, to me, looks like a shadow man. And he sent me several videos, and he said it just sort of dissolved. It just dissipated. And I went through the screenshots on it, what he sent, and it looks like the shadow of somebody freestanding in the middle of that trail. Excuse me, just for 1 second. Gracie is destroying something. Let me grab her right quick. What are you doing? No. Can't have that, girl. Oh, you're locked out. You can't come in here. Oh, gee whiz. Oh, sorry about that. Gracie found the plastic Easter eggs. And she went past me, and then she took off running. We don't let them come in here. And she ran out, and then I heard the cracking of the plastic. So, does she have another one? Another plastic? Oh, she's got her bacon. Okay. I thought she had another one. She was. Gracie is a handful. Victoria Torres, welcome. I don't think I've seen you with us before. I don't believe. We got our normal family here. There's a couple of new people, but all of you are welcome. Thank you so much for hopping in here. And there's our brother Pappy. It's always good to see Pappy. Every one of you guys and gals. But anyhow, on the screenshot, I'm going to take those pictures that he sent me, and I'm going to put them in a post. I was trying to figure out how to do it on my phone so I could do a video and like a screen share. And I think I've got it figured out. I'm going to try it tomorrow. And if I can do it that way to where you guys can see the pictures and see them clearly, then I'll do it that way. But there's a figure in the road, and I'm off at a distance. As I'm walking up on him, he's very clear to see. 2 arms, 2 legs, a head, a torso. And then it just, I don't know, it evaporates. Really, really strange. That area does have a weird feeling, and that was where I was hearing the popping and cracking sounds. I don't know if that was causing it. Could be pareidolia. Could be some type of pixelation. I don't know, but it looks very peculiar. And I just thought it would make a really neat thumbnail for this video, and that's the one that I put up. But alrighty, we're going to get started. I'm not going to keep your ears tied down. And what I'm going to do when we get finished with these, if any of you guys and gals have anything that you've experienced, or a family member, a friend, someone that you know that has experienced anything, it does not have to be these werewolf creatures or Bigfoot. It could be anything, paranormal, supernatural, the UFO phenomena, just anything. If there's something that you would like to share with us, I'll post the link. I'll put it in the chat, and you can come on and share it. If you want to share something, but you don't want people to see you, when you click on the link, it'll pull up a page, and there'll be a window where you can see yourself. And right below the window, it says microphone and camera. You have to click on those to activate them. If you don't want to be seen, do not turn on the camera. Leave the camera off. And then directly below that, it'll ask for a name. If you don't want your name known, you can put Mickey Mouse on there or anything that you want. It's just to help you to be anonymous. And when you come up, I will not be able to see you. Nobody will know who you are. And it's just a way to protect your identity for those that are concerned about that. Oh, we got Brother Connors here and Amy. Awesome. Hope I haven't missed no one. I don't think I have. But we'll get started. I don't want to drag it real late. I know a lot of people have to work, and a lot of people have other shows that they'll be hopping over to as well. And so we'll get this going. Hey, Helen, all the way from Canada. Wow. I would love to be in Canada right now, but not with what the government's doing to those people. That's we're not far off from going through it here too. So it's just the times that we're in. We're in biblical times, and it's got to get crazy before it gets good. All right, this one we're going to start with. Oh, this does have pictures, I do believe. 4, 5, yes. All right, yeah, this one does have some pictures. I think all of them do. There's 3 or 4 in here. Yeah, absolutely right, Gene. It's definitely not a joke. It's very real what's going on with the government. Canada's got it bad. The Canadians have it bad, without a doubt. Oh, Randy's here. Awesome, awesome. Good. Hopefully, I haven't missed no one. If I have, I'll try to get to you at the end. And at the end, if you have any questions or you have anything that you want to announce to the rest of our family here, please put it in caps when we get done with the articles, and we'll make sure we got all that out, because I won't be able to keep tabs on the comments as they pass while I'm reading. I can't hold them up where I can kind of see both of them because of the lighting. The lighting's actually over there, and it's shining toward me. So if I hold the paper up, everything's in shadow. And we're getting it. Frogman. I thought I'd seen you just a minute ago in there. Awesome. Brother Frogman. All right. We're going to move on with it. All right. This is titled Dead Bodies of 2 Dogmen and a Crawler Found After the Virginia Flood of 2022. The date is July 14th, 2022, in Whitewood, Virginia, which is Buchanan County, west of the intersection of Highway 638, also named Dismal River Road, and Highway 635, also named Brown Mountain Road, in the grassy area between Dismal Creek and the railroad tracks. Also, Vasant, Virginia, Buchanan County, which is about 14 miles west of Whitewood, near a mine in that area. And finally, near Marion, Virginia, Smythe County. The information source for this article is first-hand eyewitnesses after the flood, which include a farm owner that owns property next to an old mine and search and rescue teams looking for flood victims. The preface says, on July 14th, 2022, torrential rains tore through Buchanan County in Virginia for about 4 hours. The flood was so bad that 44 people were missing, houses were swept off their foundations and smashed, vehicles were swept away, and hillsides collapsed. It was a mini apocalypse for that county, with millions in damages and many homeless and misplaced families. Search and rescue immediately began the recovery of as many victims as possible, with all 44 missing people eventually found alive. As good of news as that may have been to find all 44 missing people alive, that was not all that was found. Other strange things were too. 3 dead cryptid creatures. Near Marion, Virginia, Smythe County. After the flood and during search and rescue, an eyewitness reported seeing the body of a dead dogman under an emergency tarp or blanket. Nothing more is known. Near Vasant, Virginia, Buchanan County. After the flood and before search and rescue teams arrived in this area, a farm owner who owns land next to an old coal mine owned by Consol Energy near the town of Vasant reported seeing the dead body of a pale-skinned cryptid known as a crawler, not the same as a rake creature. Part of the mountainside washed away in a landslide from so much rain, revealing a hole to a cave that went back into the cliffside where the old coal mine was. He was poking around in the rubble and found an unknown creature described as not a dogman, but something else with pale skin. The owner goes on. It was ugly, grotesque, and appeared to have the right side of its head down to its shoulder and right arm crushed. When the rubble came down, it caught this creature between two rocks that acted like a press and crushed part of it. The blood was like nothing I've ever seen before, crimson in color and so dark to almost look like a purple color, and its blood was flowing down the rock face into the mud below. It was thick and didn't dry like normal blood. It may have been brain matter. I don't know, but it had the consistency of grape jam. Disgusting. It didn't bleed normal blood as we do. Its arm was at least 4 feet long, and it was pale, like a starving person with skin stretched over bone. The legs were shorter than the arms. Its fingers were ugly. I was not sure if it just had nails or fingers that came to a point. I saw its feet and had 3 ugly-looking toes that I have never seen before, and I reported it to the authorities. People came out that owned the mineral rights to the mine and started working to dig the rubble away with a backhoe. Backhoe? That may be backhoe or a track hoe, one of the two. In the very first shovel, they picked up the rubble with this crawler in it and put it in a different truck, one with a flatbed with rails that came up about 3 feet on the sides. The other 2 trucks were just regular dump trucks. The flatbed with the crawler then left a different way than the other 2 trucks did. I never saw that flatbed truck anymore, but the other 2 dump trucks kept returning for new loads of rubble. I don't know where they took the crawler, and I don't want to know. It's my opinion that the rocks and dirt they were compacting down this hole would not be enough if more crawlers inside wanted to dig their way out. I want to sell my property and leave this area. The reason I did not want to talk about this at first is because I have seen vehicles, and in particular one vehicle that sits across the road from me watching me. It's a sedan with blacked out windows and government tags. This started once I reported seeing this creature in the rubble to the authorities, and I figure I'm being watched. I'm scared to death and I want to move. I know if there's one, there are more of them. If they have one entrance by my place that nature exposed by rain, then for sure they have other entrances we don't know about. I've had strange things happen around here. My house is only 300 feet from the mine, and I've heard things running through the woods, running through bushes at night, and sounds I didn't recognize, like screeching sounds. Not knowing what it was, I didn't worry about it. But now I know that it's crawlers. My dogs are scared to go in the woods and have refused to do so for the last 3 years. I want out of here. The very thought of these crawlers has scared this farmer stiff with the possibility of more of them and more hidden entrances. It has been suggested that these crawler cryptids that live underground might be responsible for at least some of the missing people in this area, whose remains have been mysteriously found in caves and culvert tunnels, mutilated or in pieces. These creatures are certainly strong enough to do so. One case would be 36-year-old Brandon Michael Schools in Pounding Mill, Virginia, which is Tazewell County. On August 29th of 2021, he was last seen walking down Harbor Street, and then 7 months later, on March 21st, 2022, his remains were found in a cave in pieces on a steep hillside near a quarry. Official cause of death was released as a suicide, which is hardly likely. It's also possible that 3-toed footprints found and thought to be a dogman could at times be these crawlers. Interestingly, Buchanan County has had 3 or 4 flooding situations in the last 20 years, and considering that the fact remains that authorities know of these creatures in this area, it's speculated that it may be possible HAARP, beams, or weather technologies being aimed at this area, causing centralized storm patterns with heavy rains and flooding to drown or wash away at least some of these cryptids thought to be responsible for missing and dead people. A cover-up when victims are on the rise. Buchanan County of Virginia and the counties just over the West Virginia state line are full of high strangeness, and a person should be on guard if walking alone or alone in rural areas. Whitewood, Virginia, Buchanan County, just off Highway 638, which is also named Dismal River Road. There's another highway, 635, also named Brown Mountain Road. Highway 635 tees into Highway 638. It is just southwest of this intersection that you have Dismal Creek and railroad tracks running parallel to Highway 638. The Buchanan County Commonwealth Search and Rescue Team had walked from Highway 638 through a grassy area and went across Dismal Creek, which was overflowing at the time from recent flood waters. They went to this area because someone had reported seeing what they thought was a dead body on the opposite side of Dismal Creek. In a grassy area between Dismal Creek and the railroad tracks is where the dead body of a dogman was found. It measured 6.5 feet long and had a tail. Little else is known currently about body details. After this discovery, the Buchanan County Commonwealth Search and Rescue Team contacted Virginia's Department of Natural Resources, or Fish and Game, who then contacted an unknown department or organization, possibly governmental. About 2 to 3 hours later, a helicopter, along with a small fleet of blacked-out windowed vehicles, arrived off Highway 638. The search and rescue team were escorted out of the area by these unknown people. About 1 hour after that, a train came through, stopped, and armed team members from the small fleet of vehicles boarded a boxcar with the dead body of the dogman. Then the train headed somewhere. It is speculated towards Kentucky or an underground dogman facility, but this cannot be confirmed. The Black Ops team got back in their vehicles and left the scene. The helicopter was not used for transportation of the dogman, only the train. It has been said this dogman body may have never been found had search and rescue teams had not been out carefully scouring the area for flood victims. This area is very rural and remote with heavy foliage. There would be no problem to land a helicopter on a small flat area and load an object on a passing train with little being seen. This is proof that these dogmen, whether they possess paranormal abilities or not, can be killed either by natural disaster or by man. Okay, and I am going to show you the pictures with these. I've got to get me a bigger table. And I think these should be in order. I have not moved the pictures. All right, this is Vasant, Virginia area with rock cliffs on the hillsides where a crawler was found dead. I have to try to look around it. Is the writing backwards to you guys? I think the writing's backwards. I hit my camera always, if I move my left hand, it shows me on screen moving my right hand, and it's kind of confused me. And today I changed the settings to mirrored camera. All right, this is a photo of a crawler. I think this was a game camera picture. I remember seeing this when it hit the web. That looks like a demon. I'm sorry the writing's backwards, guys. I do not know what I'm doing. It looks backwards on my end. I hope it's straight for you guys. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sugar Bridges, Malachi, and Don, and Gene. Good. Good. Maybe it's just backwards for me. And this is a photo of a crawler. I remember this one too, I think. Seems like I remembered it. That's just creepy. That's really, really creepy. It's not something I want to run into. Brother Harold and Brother Rick are here. Awesome. Oh, and Larry. And there's Audrey. Awesome. Welcome, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. All right, this is an artist rendering of a crawler. That almost looks like the picture, the one that was caught on the game camera. That's a nasty looking critter there. Oh, hey, Makaira. That's my daughter. She's down in Central Florida. I'll be going here, and before not much longer, I'll be going down to visit with her and the babies. All right, this is Whitewood, Virginia, Highway 635, near where a dead dogman was found. And it's a pretty area. I'm having to look around the picture to make sure I've got it in screen. I don't know, is it going to be clear if I move it up closer? Oh, yeah. It's a pretty area. How you doing, Larry? Harold said nothing but steep hillsides in that county. All right, this is Whitewood, Virginia, Highway 638, where the blacked out government vehicles had parked when they were recovering the dead dogman body. And try to get it a little closer. That's a pretty area. Oh, Nancy's here. Awesome. How are you doing, Nancy? And Ida's here. I have no idea what that is, Devin. I don't know what that means. This is... All right, this was just an artist's rendering of... To give you an idea of the Dogman, what the creature is for the very few of us that don't know. That would be your Dogman creature. Those are very scary looking beings right there. Nasty, nasty looking animals. Or whatever they are. Definitely not my type of beings, for sure. Gene says that's what they look like here. I don't want to see nothing like that. I mean, that's just me. I don't want to. I'd love to see videos and pictures of them, but I don't want to be the one taking the videos or the pictures. Okay. All right, I'm just removing paper clips. All right, this one here. Let's see, we got pictures. All right, I may have to. Looks like there's kind of pictures throughout this one, but that's all right. That's all good. We'll get through. Let's see. Thought I'd seen a picture just a few pages in. Yes, there are. All right. All right, sorry about that. All right, this one is titled Feral Humans. The Dennis Martin disappearance and other strange encounters from 1969 to 2008. The locations are the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee, Mason County, in Kentucky, Estill County, and then Kentucky Red River Gorge, Kentucky, West Virginia, the Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail, and the Lassen National Forest, California, and the Mount Shasta area in California. Well, that's widespread there, isn't it? The information sources for the article is many eyewitness reports, police reports, missing people, and search parties. The Dennis Martin disappearance. June 14th, 1969. The Great Smoky Mountains National Park in Tennessee, Spence Field near the Appalachian Trail. Dennis Martin's father, William C. Martin, had last seen his 6-year-old son Dennis hiding behind some bushes in a tree line at a camping spot named Spence Field where they had hiked to. The thought being that Dennis would jump out and scare his dad. Dennis never returned from behind the bush. The father, William, then ran 2 miles down the nearby trail looking for Dennis but found nothing, after which he informed the park rangers. A short time later, and 5 miles away, another visitor to the park named Harold Key reported hearing a loud scream on the same afternoon that Dennis went missing. Shortly after the scream, Harold reported seeing a disheveled man covered in hair attempting to remain unseen, fleeing through the woods with a red object over its shoulder. Interestingly, Dennis Martin was wearing a red t-shirt when he disappeared earlier. Despite this report, the FBI dismissed Harold Key as a witness, but released the following statement. Harold Key's sighting was more than 5 miles from where Dennis went missing, and he couldn't give an exact time when he saw this disheveled man. Therefore, he is not considered a viable witness, and his sighting cannot be connected to Dennis's disappearance. That just ain't right there. Jim Reich, who was a park ranger at the time, said there was a failure to properly follow up with the footprints or the sightings of a rough-looking man seen downhill from where Dennis disappeared, and it was more than reasonable to assume a fit individual could cover 5 miles in a short period of time. There were more witnesses. A father and son on the trail reported seeing a bear-like, humanish man hiding behind a bush. The son thought that it was a hairy man. They heard a kid scream, and then the creature scrambled off running. Their report was also dismissed as not credible evidence having to do with Dennis's disappearance. 1,500 people searched for Dennis Martin, and on June 23rd, 9 days after the disappearance, police dogs were brought in, but would not track and would just lay down and whimper. The dogs remained so upset that they would not eat food or drink water and had to be removed from the search. The search ended on June 29th, 15 days after Dennis Martin disappeared. Seldom heard additional details. Green Berets arrived and told park rangers and individual searchers to leave the area, and they were taken over. They remained in the woods for 1 week. Right before leaving, one of the Green Berets had made the comment to one of the park rangers, "We took care of what snatched Dennis. We killed 30 feral humans. They were very large, had enormous strength, smelled bad, and the one that snatched Dennis was also killed. We also found Dennis's bone remains and clothing at the scene, along with a lot of other bones. The family will never be notified because the family would not be able to handle what had happened." He also spoke of how long their hair was, how vines and moss grew from their bodies, how they hunted people and children and were cannibalistic. If this is true, the horror that Dennis Martin endured cannot be imagined. 1 week later, this same Green Beret was killed in a car crash, and the park ranger he told, Jim Wright, committed suicide shortly after. Both of these men spoke of something they were not supposed to. Jim Reich, before committing suicide, even said there were things in those woods that were not completely human, a mere coincidence of their deaths or murders to silence those that spoke of the details and to cover up the truth. And this is Dennis Martin and the area from where the young boy disappeared. If I can get it, I think I can get it in screen. There we go. That's horrible. And here's an artist's rendering of one of the feral humans. I think I can get that in there. It's kind of a big picture. I don't know if you guys ever seen there's a fella somewhere, I think he's in Maine, that on their property he's got video footage of what he's calling feral humans. It's not a Sasquatch. It's a wicked looking being, whatever it is. Very large eyes, very wide nose, but that video is all over the internet. If I could remember to look it up, I'll post a link for it. I'll share that with you. All right, this is a map of Spence Field where Dennis disappeared. Let's see if I can get it centered up. It's kind of hard having to look around the paper. That's crazy. He's got roots growing out of his skin or out of his matted beard. Roots and vines and moss. That would definitely be a scary sight. All right, here's a photo of the Green Berets who routed out a pack of 30 feral humans, including the one that took Dennis. I guess this is probably the actual men that did that. I'm trying to get it where you can see the whole page. And this is here's a $5,000 reward for the safe return of little Dennis. It's bad that they wouldn't even, at least if that's true, what happened to that young man, they should have at least told the family that he was believed to be deceased. I know they wouldn't be able to go into details, but it drives me crazy with so many people disappearing. And I do believe a lot of the disappearances in the state parks, I do believe they're connected to things that are not human, supernatural. All right, this is further encounters. In 1980, Mason County, Kentucky, Charles Fulton and his family were watching TV when he heard his son's rooster getting disturbed. And when he looked out the front door, he observed a white hairy creature with pink or red eyes, weighing about 400 pounds and 7 feet tall. It was holding the rooster by its neck and then threw it against the house. Grabbing his .22 pistol in his house, he followed it as it ran to a vacant lot next door, at which point Charles fired 2 rounds at the creature. It had long white hair like a horse's mane. November, excuse me, November 1980 in Mason County, Kentucky. On U.S. Route 68, Noble Clay, who was a truck driver, was hauling steel and headed west on U.S. Route 68 at night when he saw a figure on the opposite side of the highway. Turning on his high beams, he first thought it may be a hitchhiker. As he approached closer, he was shocked to see it was a huge humanoid creature with long white hair. He thought it was a creature that had escaped from a zoo because of how hideous it looked. A filed report was made with the Maysville, Kentucky Police Department. In 1985, in Estill County, Kentucky, local residents reported a man-like figure prowling the woods near their houses. Bigfoot rumors started, and local police apprehended a man from Irvine, Kentucky, who had been on the missing persons list for 3 years. He was naked and covered with mud and foliage to the extent that the vines, moss, and lichen were actually growing in his hair and on his body. He could not speak English and was forcibly taken to a hospital in Richmond, Kentucky. No reports or news releases were ever made of him. That's odd. That is just bizarre. Couldn't imagine having plants growing out of me anywhere. In 1990, Red River Gorge, Kentucky, in Wolfe County, near Cloud Splitter Rock, the witness saw an estimated 30-year-old white male walking in the woods covered with mud, leaves, and vines matted to his hair and beard, giving him a swamp creature appearance. The creature walked hunched over and ape-like. It looked at the witness and ran away like a wild animal. In West Virginia, 2 women had been picking berries and were on their way home, which required crossing a train trestle. They saw a huge creature covered in hair standing near the train trestle eating an overgrown yellow cucumber. They decided to hurry past the thing. When passing this creature, one of the women said hello, and the creature grunted and continued to eat the big cucumber. One of the women was scared to the point of refusing to return to pick berries at this location. One of the women referred to it as a man, but the other woman referred to it as a Bigfoot. In 2008, the Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail in Lassen National Forest in California, 18-year-old Matt Higgins from Oregon, after being inspired by a real-life character from the movie Into the Wild, decided to hike the Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail from the southern California-Mexico border to the northern California-Oregon state line. He was about to graduate high school and was looking for inspiration. Most of the trip went normally, with Matt walking as far as he could each day and camping each night alongside and just off the trail. Other than some dehydration and almost stepping on a rattlesnake, all went routinely by Matt's standards. The strangeness started in Northern California, about 150 miles south of his destination, which was the Oregon state line. The trail had pretty much been out in the open with vista views, but upon entering Lassen National Forest, that all changed. The winding trail was now heavily wooded on both sides, with tall trees and bushes pressing heavily against the trail, creating a darkness and quietness. Upon a right bend in the trail and 20 feet away, he saw a man and a woman dressed in white sitting on a big boulder, staring intently at him with dagger-like stares. They were middle-aged, disheveled, and dirty. They continued to stare daggers at him as he passed, saying nothing. Matt kept his head down but did not look back. Waved and said hello. There was no response from these people, just blank, dagger-like stares. Matt was thoroughly creeped out, but continued on his journey. looking behind him constantly to see if he was being followed, and he saw nothing. The next few nights proved to be the most unnerving, as no matter how many miles he walked in a day, and even staying 300 to 600 feet off the trail in heavy timber with his camp each night, the events were the same. Late night, heavy bipedal footsteps from multiple beings outside surrounding and approaching his tent, whispering of multiple voices, the stealing of his food flung up high over a branch, and human boot prints found in the morning around his tent. How were they finding him in such isolated camping spots far off the trail and many miles apart from each other? Who were they? Matt was now in a rugged mountainous area with vista views and being nearly 100 miles from the original spot where he had seen the man and the woman in white. He looked around and noticed that the same man and woman were quickly following him on the trail a mile or so back. Being totally creeped out and not caring about finishing the hike, he pulled out his map to find the nearest town to go to and discovered he was 25 miles from a small town called Costella, California. He ran nonstop for hours, even through the night, not stopping until the ground could not be seen in the darkness. Going way off the trail and setting up a perimeter of sticks on the ground, he lay in his tent listening. The final straw came when he heard the cracking of sticks, the whispering of voices, footsteps approaching his tent, and the lighting up of his tent by a flashlight outside, which then clicked off. Exiting his tent in a total fight-or-flight mode and flailing his knife around at these people, screaming to leave him alone, he notices someone right behind him and another dark figure running towards him from the side. Matt turns and abandons his camp, running for his life in darkness, hitting trees and falling down. After his fall near a fallen log, he tucked himself under the log and watched the bobbing flashlight in the darkness and people walking around him searching for him. After daylight came and remaining in his spot for a few more hours just to be sure they had left, he found the trail and ran all the way to the town of Costella, where he hitchhiked his way to the town of Mount Shasta. There he found the Mount Shasta Ranger Station and filed a report of what happened. He was put up in a motel for the night, and the next day his family drove down from Oregon to pick him up and take him home. A few months later, Matt called the Mount Shasta Ranger Station to see if anything had been found concerning the people in white, or if any other reports had been made. The ranger said quite a few reports had been made by campers in the Lassen National Forest, Mount Shasta, and surrounding areas of things being stolen from campsites at night. But Matt was the only one, he said, that reported seeing and being terrorized by a disheveled, dirty man and a woman dressed in white. To this day, Matt has no clue who they were, what they wanted other than to steal food, or how they kept finding his isolated campsites in total darkness, and why they stalked him for nearly 100 miles. It remains a mystery, but does bring up the question of feral humans. In conclusion, what are feral humans? Just how widespread are they in the U.S.? Are they fully human? One who has turned wild or cannibalistic, a crossbreed of Bigfoot, or something else? It was known for a long time the Appalachian Mountains of the Great Smoky Mountains had tales of feral humans, even encounters of hikers hearing clicking noises and voices on certain isolated trails, and getting the feeling they were being watched and hunted by something or someone, only to flee the area as quickly as possible. Are some of the missing people actually victims of cannibalistic feral humans? Has Lassen National Forest and Mount Shasta area in Northern California always held the secret of feral humans, as Matt Higgins experienced in 2008, or is it more recent development? The Forest Service Ranger, the Forest Service Ranger at Mount Shasta admitted there were many reports of items being stolen in the night at campsites by something or someone. Another park ranger admitted there are things in the forest that are not completely human. The descriptions of these creatures can vary too. Number 1, a dirty, disheveled man with a beard and blank stare, speaking no English and running off like a wild animal. Some reports say their eyes are deep set or white as if from cataracts. Women are reported to have been seen also. Number 2, a large humanoid type creature covered with hair with pink or red eyes, 7 feet tall, 400 pounds, and with a mane like a horse. And number 3, a hair-covered man with a bear-like appearance. Then there are the reports of these creatures using clicking noises or whispered voices amongst themselves when they hunt hikers on trails in certain areas. That's the deaf dog, I'm sorry. The reports of them being unusually strong, smelling bad, and having hair like a horse's mane, being cannibals, having moss, vines, and lichen growing from their skin and hair, and living in groups of 30. One admission by a park ranger told of feral humans terrorizing hikers with spears and stones, and being seen in a group of 3 in a field, which resulted in a Forest Service search party tracking them for miles to a cave where a group of them were living. After a fight in which they hurled spears, sticks, and stones, they were dispatched by the Forest Service. One woman came home one night to her isolated trailer homestead only to see in her headlights a small group of feral humans rummaging through her trash cans, at which point they took off into the darkness. Another reported seeing feral humans in the tops of trees along their driveway at night as they entered their property. There are simply too many reports and first-hand encounters to pass it off as just a scary campfire story or myth. The questions remain, but one thing is for sure. If you are alone in the woods on certain trails known for previous encounters of these creatures and you hear whispers, clicking noises and feel you are being watched or hunted, you probably are, and it's time to run for your life. That would be a very, very rough camping trip. It's all right, Rosie. Okay, let's see. I think these are more pictures. All right. Here's a typical rural road in Mason and Estill counties in Kentucky where feral humans were seen. I apologize about Gracie. She hears things and sees things that we don't. And there's a lot of times I honestly believe that she is seeing stuff. She can't hear. She doesn't have the bones. She was born without the bones in her ear, so she's 100% deaf. All right, this is Cloud Splitter Rock in Red River Gorge, Kentucky, where a feral human was seen. And it's a little difficult to make out. It looks better on the screen than what it does looking at it in person. It's a pretty area. I don't want to be there. Not if there's wild, crazy people living out there. Pacific Crest National Scenic Trail, taken by Matt Higgins. Well, that's a pretty place, isn't it? Wow. Yep, Gene, you're absolutely right. The dogs certainly don't need their ears to know. She's deaf and listens better than probably all of them. Lassen National Forest in California, where Matt entered. That reminds me of that that area, Bluff Creek area, where they filmed Patty. It looks a lot like that. Very pretty. Gene, if you're the man out front, we haven't heard. They didn't have anything in the news, so we have no idea. We found his name because of a lot of the stuff that was thrown from his truck when he had the accident. His name's Lamar. I'm not going to give his last name because I don't know him. I don't have any permission to do that. But they put him in the ambulance, and they ended up getting him stabilized, and then they moved him to the helicopter, and they took him to the hospital. So I hope he's all right. That was a nasty wreck, and when they got him out, he was banged up. He was banged up really bad. I hate that. All right, this is Alaskan National Forest, California, where the trail is surrounded by thick woods and where Matt passed the couple in white. That is extremely thick. It makes you wonder how them people can see in the dark, because that they ain't got batteries for that flashlight, so they probably stole it off someone. Them wild people. It's a beautiful area. But if you notice, most of these people that go on these long hikes and camping trips that have these encounters, most of them are unarmed. And I don't understand that. There's no way I'd go out. I'm not going out in the woods at all, especially on a long hike, unarmed. All right, this is the couple in white that stared at Matt when he passed and followed him for 100 miles. This is not the actual people, but it's just like a, I don't know what you call it, a remake of that scene. That would have been similar to what he's seen, but they would have been much dirtier. And they would have had plant life growing from their skin and hair. That almost reminds me of some of them cults. What they call Jesus cults, where the one guy will think that he's the reincarnate of Christ Yeshua, Jesus. And then he'll end up, excuse me, having all the women of the commune bear his children. I'm not up with that stuff. All right, coming out of Alaskan National Forest and out in the open mountain view, here's where Matt Higgins saw the couple in white following him. Golly, this is a beautiful area. Look at that. I would love to see that one time before the Lord comes and gets me. But it's way out in the middle of nowhere. They'd have to fly me in because I am not going to be camping out in the woods at night. Not in a tent. Excuse me. Gee whiz. Should have brought water. My cup's full of lemonade. The Mount Shasta area, pardon me. The Mount Shasta area where people's campsites are raided at night and where Matt fled to the end of his terrifying ordeal. Wow. That's amazing. That area right there. Look at that. Well, trying to get my fingers so dried out I can't grab the page. All right, and this is the last picture in this set. This is the Mount Shasta Ranger Station where Matt Higgins filed his report of being stalked, followed, and hunted. That's a really pretty building too. California's beautiful, but the laws are a little goofy up there for me. And I don't want to be living in a place that rocks and rolls and your house falls apart. Hey, Scott. I just seen your name in there. Good to see you, brother. Absolutely good to see you. All right, and then we're gonna. I think this is all right. This will be the final one. This would be it's a few more of the victims of what we had started last week with the the disappearances and supposed Dogman attacks. And it's not very long. Wow. All right. I've got about 50 pounds of Don's staples or paper clips over here. I was talking to him the other day and we're joking about it. He's always sending just every color paper clip you can imagine. I've got them all. Pink, purple, green, blue, yellow. I think this is brown. Yeah, brown ones. But Don's so very organized. Everything is put together. The pictures are separated from the actual articles. I mean, it's so easy to go through them the way that he does them. And I am extremely appreciative of that. And that's our brother, Don Moore, who's in the chat with us right now. He's the one that prepares all of these for us. He is the man. He does the research and the printing, the editing, a lot of this stuff he takes from audio and he transcribes it, I guess you would call. All right, this one, this will be a continuation of the Dogman stuff, the supposed attacks and disappearances. And I believe there is, I think there's 4 people in this one, missing people. Or I've not read them yet. I just had to do a verification with him today, and I believe it's 4. But we'll get started with it, and then we'll open it up and see if any of you have anything you'd like to share with us, any encounters, or know of someone, family or friend who's had an encounter that you'd like to share with us. We're going to make that, give you that option here in just a few minutes. All right, I'm just going to start where this one leaves off. This is from the first night that we had done this, and we went through all the missing people and the ones that were found deceased. All right, November 8th, 2013, Cedar Bluff, Virginia, and Tazewell County, Sulphur Spring Hollow area. 41-year-old Eric Grady Smith. He left his home early one morning to hunt along the 400 acres of his own property on 116 West Hurt Buggy Road off of U.S. Route 460 and was never seen again. He was an avid hunter and worked at Buchanan 1 coal mine, where he had a stellar reputation, but for the 5 days before he went missing, he had reported in sick by his wife. His wife, excuse me, his wife, Dreama Smith, had driven to Buchanan County to decorate a tree, and when she returned home that evening, Eric was missing. She called his parents and the authorities. A massive search with many people was done with a command center. Eric had left his phone and cigarettes behind in his home and his wallet in his truck. Bloodhounds kept returning to Eric's home before returning to the woods. He was dressed in camo and carrying a rifle. 800 acres of wooded mountainous terrain had been covered. Nothing was found. A $20,000 reward was even offered. Over the years, 2 leads given to authorities led to nothing new. It would make sense that if Eric was attacked and taken by a dogman, the creature must have been watching and waiting until his wife left around 10 a.m. and Eric was outside and in between his house and truck, busy and distracted, getting things ready to leave. Hence, his phone and cigarettes still in the house and his wallet already in the truck. And he would, by this time, had his rifle on him. He could have been lured away from his house and truck some way when he was outside, also by a distant creature in which he abandoned his packing and with his rifle in hand gave pursuit and was ambushed and taken in a more remote wooded area out of sight of any neighbors. He was tricked and lured away to his death by a calculating dogman or dogmen. And this is 41-year-old Eric Smith, disappeared hunting on his own property in Cedar Bluff, Virginia. And there's Eric. Try to get it where you can. Looks like one of those no-nonsense guys type that just doesn't put up with garbage. He doesn't look like the type that would just pack up and go, but there's a lot of disappearances, especially these days. It's getting worse. All right, here's the entrance to Hurt Buggy Road where his house is located or was located. There's a lot of hills around there too. And definitely not Florida. Pretty area. And Virginia's amazing. I would love to be up there. All right, and here's Eric's house. And this is the property where he actually disappeared from. So it looks like his driveway and house would be really close together. It'd be easy to assume that he took off after something when he vanished. Wow. Well, my hands are so dry I can't grab the pages. All right. July 9th, 2022, St. Louis, Missouri, and St. Louis County. The alleyway in between the 4800 block of San Francisco Avenue and Sacramento Avenue. The Penrose neighborhood is an older city suburban area not far from the Mississippi River with alleys that run to the side and in back of a row of houses. 62-year-old Dennis Moore. Dennis was found the morning of July 10th by police in an alley about 2 blocks from their home. Police said he was eaten up so badly on his lower body that it appeared to be in a state of decay, but his head was not touched. Police believe he was killed between 11:30 and 6:30 a.m. 11:30 p.m. and 6:30 a.m. His wife, Melvina, who worked the night shift, always made back and forth contact with Dennis during the night, either when he got up to use the restroom and would call her or she would call him on her breaks. This night, when she received no call from him after 8 p.m., she suspected something was wrong. Melvina called one final time at 9 a.m. on July 10th, and the police answered Dennis's cell phone, asking who she was, if she still lived there, and that they needed to speak with her. Arriving, Melvina saw Dennis was covered with a sheet to hide his eaten and decayed body, except for his face, so she could identify him. She said she had no clue why he would have been outside that late in the alley and not asleep inside. That was not normal for him to do that. Police immediately tell her there was no foul play to blame it on. There was no foul play, and they blamed it on 3 pit bulls. In one statement, Melvina used the term wolves or wolf-like creatures. but retracts that and goes back to the term dogs. Melvina stated she does not believe the 3 pit bulls seized are the same ones that attacked her husband and thinks the real killers are still out there and wants justice. It is common for dogs that attack people to go for the throat, face, and head, which is not what happened here. It was not dogs. Decaying also takes 24 to 72 hours for to a body. So how did Dennis's body decay so quickly in 10 hours or less? St. Louis Animal Control said they had seized 3 dogs under investigation that matched the description. Police also said Dennis had a significant amount of wounds to his body, and it's unknown how the attack happened and why the head and face were not touched. Police said this is a bad area for animals. Long neighborhood resident Brian Chapman said he had not heard of his neighborhood being bad with animals, and the neighborhood is rather quiet. He doesn't see dogs running loose, contradicting the police's narrative that this was a bad neighborhood for loose animals. A city spokesman further contradicts the police by saying, "We don't get any wild or vicious animal calls from that area, and it's very rare to get any service calls from that area." Another neighbor, Michael Lewis, said he had seen dogs in the area nearby that were owned by someone. He avoids that specific alley. No official cause of death was released by the medical examiner, and he said the cause of death release might take 8 to 12 weeks or never if the case stays open. This is a repeated process now from police on Dogman victims. Blame dogs, seize some if you know of any neighbors' dogs, keep the case open so the autopsy findings and cause of death are not released to the public, and ignore the real problem, dogmen. Interestingly, 2 other people were attacked and injured in the same area and on the same weekend. A 92-year-old man was attacked on the same night when taking out his trash at 7:30 p.m. and was found on the ground injured with bite marks, investigators said. He was taken to the hospital with no further info on who he is, the hospital or what happened. And 23-year-old Kevin Davis, who said he was attacked on the same weekend at night in the alley while taking out a neighbor's trash in the Penrose neighborhood. He said 3 pit bulls came out of nowhere. Did the police change the real attackers to pit bulls? And they started biting his ankles and then harder, and then his legs and fingers were bitten to the bone. He fought for his life, losing a fingernail. He scaled a high fence to escape, and he said one of the dogs scaled the high fence, bit, and tried to pull him back over the top of the fence. Pit bull scaling high fences and pulling a human back over the top? Sounds like a dogman to me. Kevin said he did not know there were 2 other victims in this area, but he did know Dennis Moore personally as a kind man. And this is a picture of 62-year-old Dennis Moore, found devoured from the neck down and in a state of decay in an alley. It is odd to have his body decaying only after roughly 10 hours. He looks really healthy. You'd think he'd be able to fight off. No, there's no way to fight off 3 dogs. Even if they were pit bulls, a 35-pound pit is hard for a 50-pound man to fight off. They're extremely powerful, but they're not strong enough to pull a grown man over a fence. Here's 23-year-old Kevin Davis, who survived an attack, and he just ended up with injuries on his legs and his fingers to the bone. That older man, it looks like somebody I've seen on TV in a movie show before, but I don't know the guy's name. The alley in the Penrose neighborhood of St. Louis, Missouri, where the attacks happened at night on the same weekend. That was the 3 attacks. They happened right here. That's the alley. Normally most of the dog attacks that we've heard about around here are normally in these rural areas. There's houses and lots, but they're not, stuck side by side. There's, anywhere from an acre to 5 acre lots. And here's the entrance to the alley of the attack site. And this is where the 3 people were attacked. There's the entrance on how to get down that alley. Looks like a nice neighborhood. Wow. And a lot of the different articles that we've heard about and that we've shared here, there's so many of them, just none of the details of what they're given, the reports, they just don't make sense. A lot of it doesn't. Some of them, like that one, it could very easily be 3 pit bulls, but I don't know about dragging a man up and over a fence. I spent 17 years raising Georgia Jeep pit bulls for hog dogs. The males usually end up about 50 pounds, females anywhere from 35 to 45 pounds, and extremely strong. But even the males are not strong enough to pull a grown man up a fence at all. They can drag you on the ground. They get their feet dug in. All right, what I'm going to do now, let me see. I'm going to paste the link down here. If any of you would like to come on and share any type of encounter that you've had, Sasquatch, Dogman, paranormal, UFO, anything out of the ordinary, or anything, any experience that you've had and you'd like to share, someone that you know, you should be able to click that link and we can bring you on and let you tell your story. If you have something you want to share, but you do not want to be known, you don't want nobody to know who you are, when you click on the link, right below it, you'll have 2 buttons, one for your microphone and one for your camera. Just make sure to click the camera off. And then just below that, it asks for the name that you want displayed on the screen. If you don't want your real name displayed, just make up something. You can put anything in there. But the important thing is, if you have something truthful about these strange creatures, whether they are the Sasquatch, the Bigfoot, the Dogmen, anything that there's a possibility that people could be running into them, it's important to share that. Bringing awareness of the existence of these beings is it's important, especially with the encounters ramping up as high as they are and the disappearances. But I just put the link in the chat right there, and that should bring you right on. And if you choose to hide, to turn off your camera and to change your name, no one has access to know who you are, including me. Whatever you put on there is what I see. The same thing what you're seeing on screen. If you put Mickey Mouse, that's what I'll see. Whoop. Pearl's coming. There she is. How are you doing?
Can you hear me? Am I coming in all right?
Oh,
I had to go out on the porch. My son's listening to the radio inside. But Donnie, I've got to pick your brain. Sorry about my camera footage for tonight, guys. Y'all just, I'm a little disheveled. But Donnie, yesterday, I have an older wooden house. This is not about Dogman. I have an older wooden house, and I have one window unit going in a section of my wooden house. And yesterday, I don't know, about 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and it wasn't raining, I heard a big boom. and it sounded like a door had shut in my front yard of somebody slamming a vehicle door in my front yard. And I'm on 2 acres. And so I went out, I went running outside, to see what it was. It was like an emergency, it just felt like an emergency. So I get outside and I see a truck on the road. Okay. And that's a good, I don't know, that's a good 1,500 feet away from me from where I heard this truck. And I crossed the neighbor's yard and I hollered and I asked if everybody was all right. That's just a thing you do. And I get out there to the scene, and there's a 10-point buck laying on the ground, velveteen antler. And it lost one of the antlers in the process. Okay, it ran right slap into a crew cab, Sierra pickup truck, big one. All right, and ran right slap into the door of it, the door and the tire well of it. Now this was a big up and coming buck. Okay, and number one, it's too early for the rut. Okay, and I have deer that cross my yard in herds at night, and there's wildlife running through these subdivisions and around my property. And I've had activity as well as, seeing some Sasquatch cross my yard and whatnot. But what was strange, Donnie, is I looked around, I couldn't find that other antler nowhere. And the only blood coming from that fresh killed deer, okay, because I watched that deer draw its last breath, Donnie. The only place that deer was bleeding was where the antler itself was missing, completely out of its socket. Okay, and it had to hit that truck so hard for that antler to have been intact before that deer hit it. Okay, and I say before the deer ran into the truck, because it was clear the driver, it didn't hit the front end of the truck. It slammed right into the driver's door and the driver's tire.
So it was
of that
trying
big
to get
truck.
away from something.
Right. And a neighbor came on the scene, said they saw a little bitty black dog run away from it, running away. Okay. But nobody else saw a dog. And as well as I know, if a dog was chasing a deer, it'd come back to smell that deer. Donnie, that's just normal behavior for an animal. So I don't know what that one neighbor saw he was claiming was a dog. But, there's 4 or 5 people out there standing, and there's no dog in sight. There's no barking going on, and there was no barking going on before the deer got hit. And the deer didn't get hit. That deer ran slap into that truck this time of year. And it's odd because sure, they jump the road, but it's not usually in broad daylight. Now the creek was flooded down the street, little flash floods from the rain. The deer was covered in seed ticks to top it off. Okay. And what was so odd is that antler that was missing, Donnie. And I really suspect that deer was running away from whatever was fixing to have it for dinner.
Oh, very possible. Yeah, when they're in velvet, it's impossible to get the antlers off of them. I mean, they are so hard. But you'd have to literally break the skull to get them off.
It was jerked clean out of the socket, Donnie. That's what's so disturbing.
Yeah, it should have been right there with the deer if you broke it off at the truck. When they're in velvet, the velvet is a skin on them, and if they get broke off, they kind of stick. We've had them run into our vehicle before, and I've hit them before in velvet, and when the horns are broke, they're right there. Now, when they're hard, when near the end of rut, when the horns are starting to get loose, because they'll drop them here in March. That's when they start shedding. But in February, you hit one. Sometimes they're getting loose, and that hard horn it'll leave the deer's head, but normally it's 15 or 20 feet from you. It's right there. It doesn't go far.
Right. I looked all around. I couldn't find that antler nowhere.
Yeah, that's odd.
I couldn't find that antler nowhere. And to top things off, I asked the driver I said, well, do you think something was chasing that deer? Did you see anything chasing that deer coming across the other neighbor's yard, approaching the road? You know, because there's a black, dark patch of woods it had to run from. Excuse me. And that's common, you know, for them to cross the road around here. But it's usually early morning. You know, it's usually late at night, early morning. Excuse me. It wasn't raining. It was just too odd of a time of day for a deer to get struck for around here, Donnie. And I asked the driver, I said, excuse me, I'm choking. He said he didn't see anything chasing that deer. He said the deer came so fast that he didn't see the deer coming. He just felt it hit his truck.
Yeah, that wouldn't be a dog. I grew up, the whole family hunts, and I don't dog hunt, but a lot of my family dog hunts. A lot of my friends dog hunt, and the way a deer is very smart. They're an animal of prey, and they got to be smart in order to avoid being caught. And if your dog is running that deer at 16 miles an hour, that deer's going to run at 17. And now they can run 35, 38 miles an hour, but they're not going to do it with a dog or a coyote. They'll stay just ahead of them because the canines are going to tire out before that deer does.
Well, and the deer around here know the traffic, and they know the times of the traffic flow. You know, they're smart. They know when to cross the roads. You know, and then I went a little further. I asked the driver, I said, well, I said, do you think maybe a Sasquatch was chasing it? You know, I got a little brazen. And I said, do you think maybe a Sasquatch was chasing it? He said, well, I didn't see one. And I said, well, have you ever seen a Sasquatch? You know, I was getting brazen with this guy because he's a hunter too. All right. He admitted he was a hunter. You know, and he told me he had enough meat in his freezer already, and he didn't really want to have to take it home and skin it. And he was calling his buddies on the phone to come get it, you know. You know, it's meat, folks. And they might have got the hindquarters and the legs. And, you know, it was already starting to swell. It had internal injuries, you could tell. But, you know, and it was funny. He said, well, you know, I've heard some things in the woods. I never seen one. He said, and all I can do is speculate. So it was a rare occasion of meeting a stranger, you know, that lives somewhere around here, you know, that actually was willing to just at least address the subject, you know. But it made me wonder because I've seen them cross my yard, not the deer, but the Sasquatch, you know, and I've jaw dropped. And it wasn't more than 2 or 3 nights ago. I was coming in with my son, and it was dark, and he hadn't been wanting to ride his bike too much at night. Okay, he's got lights on his bike, likes to ride the front yard, and he'd been coming in early, and I've been keeping a pretty good watch on him too when he does ride. And you know, just as we entered into the kitchen, okay, I heard something really slam. Okay, I mean, I couldn't tell if it was a rock. Now, granted, my shed behind my house is a tornado leveled it, and there's still debris back there. Okay, and I've got tin and metal and, you know, things to do. But the sound I heard was just metal that went wham. And I looked out my kitchen window. There's nothing out there, you know, that I can see. But I know it was something that was thrown deliberately for me to hear. And then, you know, a few days later, I got a deer running into somebody's pickup truck. Now, in another subject I just wanted to address, more and more people are noticing them around their homes, They're noted. Don Moore, thank you, Don, for all you do. Big shout out to all of you. I love you all. And but
That's good.
Don, you know, had made the point in chat a little earlier tonight that you know, people are noticing them near suburbs more often. Well, there's a lot of truth to that, and I can testify to that too, you know, personally. But and I'm not so sure that the big one I saw when I was 15, I don't live but about 10 miles from where I saw that one eye to eye, Donnie.
Oh, wow.
And when I had first heard the scream when my kid was outside riding his bike a good while back, I don't know, a year or so, you know, I wondered if that big one had found me again. You know, I had my house slapped twice right after I had heard that long, about a quarter mile off. And I heard that over the top of cars and barking dogs. You know, I mean, and I wondered how in the world did anybody else not hear it or talk about it? You know, people play, you know, even myself, I know there's activity. There's a lot of times that I ignore it, you know, because I have life. Life goes on. We've got dishes to do, laundry to do, kids to feed. You know, we have life. But in the back of my mind, and you know your own intuition, Donnie, you sense them when they're around. I sense them when they're around. And more and more people are either aware or noticing them, or the veil is getting thin, or these or they're just getting more brazen about being near people. You know, I have scratched my head a lot on that, wondering just, you know, people are talking about it more. There's more and more sites with more and more people sharing their encounters, whether it's in the people's chat rooms, in messages, on the comment sections. You know, I read a lot of comments on a lot of different channels. And, you know, I'm really noticing there's lots more activity. Of course, people are talking about it, and we're less ridiculed for it, you know, online. All right. But, you know, when it's people like you and me and Don and even Scott down in your chat room tonight, you know, talking about he's got them around his property too. I think, you know, either they're multiplying or they're getting more brave about being around people. I scratch my brain a lot on that, Donnie.
Well, there's several people that think that they're not from here. They're coming either from another dimension, another planet. They're coming from somewhere. But a lot of people believe they're coming through these portals, these doors.
Yeah, the veil is thin. I know what vortexes, other dimensions are.
But it was, you know, one of the things what you had just said, you heard that loud, that metal sound, metal on metal type sound.
Yeah.
And it was just brought up to me, and
they wanted me to know they were there.
Well, I've been hearing that metal sound in the woods. I don't know. It's been a lot. It sounds like not two hollow metal pipes. It sounds like two solid.
Yeah, it was solid.
Bars hitting. It's a clank. And I've heard it. The video I'd done a few years ago, I filmed out there at Hog Mountain when I did the hike to Hog Mountain. I heard it out there. And I'm pretty sure I caught it on video there too. It's metal on metal. In that area I've hunted since I was a teenager, and there is no structures. It's swamp and forest, and that's all that's out there. But just the other day when I was filming at the property, I heard the same thing, and I never put it together. And I've heard it everywhere that I hunt. I've heard that metal on metal sound, and I don't know what it is, but it just reminded me when you said you heard a really loud metal clanking sound, and it's the same thing that I heard. And I'm wondering if it's a noise that these things are creating, because there's not an animal that can make a metal noise that I know of.
Well, they had plenty of the one that did it. How it happened to me is there was plenty. The Yopon are high around my shed. I've been clearing a lot of brush. I just cleared a 50-year-old grapevine that was overgrown 30, 40 feet, and I'd been clearing all that old grapevine, and I've had it stacked in the yard a while, a lot of rain, and I've been out in the yard mowing and getting all that scrub brush cleared up and getting ready to burn it. Okay, and maybe I aggravated them, because I've cleared their hedges of spine and spotting the deer, because to hide around things like that, I mean, I believe they hunt deer. Okay, I really do.
Yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, that's what Max had. He had just put in the comment. I just threw it up there. He said we never seen or heard anything until about 7 years ago, and that's what's happening with everyone.
It's more and more.
Yep, it's happening so often, and there's people that are in their 60s and 70s, been in the wood their entire life and have never witnessed anything. They've heard some strange noises, but now they're seeing them 2 or 3 times a year. They're starting to see these structures, and a lot of these older folks, they've hunted not just in the areas where they live now, but a lot of them have hunted, thousands and thousands of acres of different forests in multiple states even, and where they've never had any experiences, and now it's happening regularly. And it was years back, we always heard the screams, and all of us, including me, blew it off as them hootie owls and big river owls, because they make some pretty wicked noises.
Well, yeah, a screech owl does, yes.
Yeah, and we had them come up close to our camp and scream, and it was the vibrations coming off, the sound waves from it were so intense, you could feel it literally in your joints. You could feel it going through you.
Right, it's got too much depth and reverberates too far. And it reverberates through things, yes.
Yeah, and it would go for 20, 25 seconds straight, one breath. And all of us, there was 13 of us at that camp. All of us are outdoorsmen. We all understand the noises of an owl, and a bobcat can make some really wicked noises, but they can't carry out like that.
And I have one really curious question to ask you.
Yeah.
After Carrie and Mark, after you took them to the place you took them over by your area, and they camped out, my biggest question to you is, have you noticed more activity around your house since then?
No, it's kind of slacked off. We still get things happen, but it's slacked off. It's been pretty quiet the last probably 5 days, or maybe even a little bit longer. It's been pretty quiet, but the property and where we live is probably 18 miles apart.
Okay. Yeah, they may not have tracked you back home. Because the one that I saw when I was 15, I'm really not so sure it hasn't found me 10 miles away.
I believe they can do that now. And I talked to Scott Carpenter, not our Scott is here with us tonight, but I was talking to him about it, and he believes the same, that they mark you and they can find you regardless of where you go. And
they just knowers. It's some sort of telepathic thing. It's some sort of scent thing. It's some sort of vibe thing. We can speculate how they do it all we want to, and still not put our finger on exactly how that happens. But more and more people that have actually come eye to eye to them and seen them, or just they know you saw them. Okay, that they may find you again.
We had
who was it that said you're marked? I recall one of the researchers saying, "Yeah, you're marked." It's as if you're marked. They've marked you in some way.
Yeah, there's several of them that they've mentioned that to me, that I was marked, and I believe it to an extent. There's something that they do. I don't know what it is, it went from, I've always had stuff happen, but it didn't escalate to the point to where, uh, back then I'd go out in the woods 10, 15, 20 times and nothing would happen. And you'd hear stuff, weird stuff. You'd see the weird structures, but it never meant nothing. I never once thought it was anything other than a hunter or somebody out there just playing around. It never crossed my mind. And when I had that encounter in Mariana, that was the starting point to where after that, no matter where I go, I mean, I'll get to where I'll see them move between the trees. I'll hear them, the footsteps, and I've caught that on camera a few times where they'll right there by me, 30 or 40 feet from me in the swamp, and you hear them when they take off. And I don't like it. I don't want them around me like that. But
well, yeah, and I use I have that take on that too. I don't like it. I don't really want them near me. I can't say that I'm a researcher. I'm just a common, ordinary citizen who's very aware, who's had a terrible experience as a young person. And, I'm just aware that they're around. It doesn't mean that I want to feed them or leave them apples. There's times I've walked out in my field and found huge prints, but it's in such grass, okay, that's boggy. I can see the shape of a footprint, but I can't put my hand down in it and feel where toes were.
Yeah, I've witnessed that also. And
I walked out my backyard. The grass was high. I walked out my back door. I don't know, a week or so ago. Before I mowed it, my grass was very high out my back door, and I walked out it one morning before I was mowing it, and thought, well, I'm going to mow this today, and I've known they've been around. I've sensed them. And I looked down and I had footprints through 3-foot high grass that went all the way around my 50-year-old grapevine. And those footprints, I didn't bother taking a picture. I've tracked animals in the Ozarks. I've done a little hunting. I do know to put my hand down in a track and feel for the toes. I do know to put a hand down in a track and see if I can feel where a bear's claws dug into the ground.
Oh, yeah.
You can really tell the difference in tracks, especially by feeling them. Okay, you don't want to mar the track, but that track was huge. And a good while back, I had seen what I call the tree peeker that was, swaying behind a tree in my neighbor's yard, and it blocked his porch light from my view. And that porch light on a house that sits on the ground is at least 10, 12 foot high, a normal porch light.
Oh, yeah.
And I knew it was blocking the light each time it peeked around the tree looking at me.
Yeah, that's scary. That's what I don't like. I don't mind if they're out there going away from me, but
well, it wasn't too long after that when the north wall of my bedroom got slapped hard just as soon as I laid down one night. And then no sooner than it slapped the north wall, it was just seconds, it slapped the west wall. So there was either more than one or it moved that fast. And I literally jumped up on top of my bed and I went to hollering. And I went to battling and hollering and telling them they wasn't welcome to do that. It's an older wooden house, folks. They had to hear me. And something's been waking me up. Either I'm snoring too loud at night, Donnie, and waking myself up, or they're waking me up. I don't know. I sleep that solid when I do sleep.
I do too. I just I've been getting woke up quite a bit, but it's finally this past week I've been able to sleep. But we get, and I believe they're hitting the house. It almost sounds like thunder. It's a boom noise.
Yeah.
And when it first started, probably a month went by, And
But my house is an old wooden house. The whole wall shook, Donnie.
yeah, I could
The
imagine,
whole
'cause
house,
we're in a brick house and it shakes our house. I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine in a wooden house how loud that would be. But it happened almost a month and I never heard it. Kim heard it every night, and then she'd wake me up, something's hitting the house. And I'd listen, I wouldn't hear nothing. And then one night, I don't know what woke me up, but I woke up and I was trying to focus because the dogs sleep with us and they're all looking toward the north end of the bedroom, which is the north end of the house. And that's where the activity normally happens. And they're all staring at that end. And then I heard it. And it sounded like the sound travels in the brick around the house. It's really strange. You can tell where it's coming from, but you could also hear it coming from the side, instead of
It wasn't a tremor under your feet. No, it's something hit your house. That's right.
It's definitely coming through the wall, not the floor, but it's creepy. I don't like it at all. And
and there's nothing we can do to stop it except pray and I mean I use the method of I'm a bit clairvoyant. I'm a little telepathic at times, and I do use the method usually of letting them know about Yeshua and that he has rules about his children.
Yeah, it gets I pray anytime I go out there, but if I have activity around me, it scares me to the point that I don't even think about praying. I get that scared, and I'm like here when we have the activity, I've got a closet full of firearms. We've got them all over in here. I hunt, and that's how we get our meat. And during the daytime, if we have the banging on the house tomorrow during the day, I'll be outside with the goats, and they never mess with the goats. And I'll be around the house, and in my mind, I'm thinking, I've got a 45 caliber rifle that would punch a hole slap through one. And in my mind, you come messing around, I'm going to shoot you. I can't have that. I got a family here. And then when the sun goes down and it happens, I don't want no part of it. I'm not going out there. And it's so strange. During the day, I'm gung-ho. I'm ready to get out there and take care of it if they come around. But as soon as the sun goes down, I do not want to be out there around them.
Right. And I don't have lights around my house very much. I need more lights. And they get more aggravated if I go out and take video in my yard. That's when a lot of that activity started. And it's as if possibly maybe I was catching them on film and didn't know it. Or maybe they were dodging it and I didn't know it. I mean, they camouflage so easy in the back thick woods, I mean, they don't call Mississippi the jungle for nothing.
That's right. Yeah,
the woods are mighty thick.
Just recently, a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, I went up to the property and I parked right there where Carrie and Mark had parked. And I walked down just past their little campsite and I went to check the cameras. The 2 cameras that are there, they're not far from that spot. And I had a lot of movement on the opposite side of the creek, which is the side my car was on, because the cameras are across the creek. So I walked down the trail, I crossed the creek. There's a little, the road crosses right there. And I turn to the east and I go back 150 yards or so where the cameras are. Coming back, and I definitely heard movement. I heard that talking noise, the mumbling. When I crossed the little culvert and was going up to the car, I wasn't, 75 feet from the car. And you could see my boot prints. I was just going up, and you're always looking down because we have so many snakes here. And I'm always looking down, whether I'm out back or wherever. And I just happened.
Yeah, it's kind of like a down, up, because you got to look at the trees too, Yeah.
I always forget. I very seldom remember to look at the treetops, but I'm so afraid of getting snake bit again. And I'm always looking down, and I just happened to see a dark spot as I walked past it. And I looked back to check, and it was a footprint. And I stopped and looked. He come out of the woods, crossed the trail. And this, I parked, I walked down and across the creek, went to the cameras. And he crossed while I was on the other side of the creek. He crossed between my car and the creek. I mean, 70 feet maybe from the car. You can see the car. It's right there where he crossed. And the tracks weren't big. I'm guessing about a size 10, maybe a size 11 foot, but really deep in the ground. You can see my boot print. I have a 13 boot. And that hard boot print barely went into the ground, maybe like this. And the footprint was, I mean, it was smashed in. But he come out of where the briars and all that mess is, across the road. One track was on top of my boot print. And then he went down where Mark had his tent set up on top of the cactus down there, barefoot, stepped right on the cactus and up the bank. But I got several of the track, I don't know, 12 foot or so of the track. I did film that. But when I realized it was not a bear, it's definitely biped. There's no claws on it. It was a human foot. I left. That was enough for me. I got in the car and got out of there. But
yeah, it's creepy when you know they're really tracking and trailing you. You're the one really being hunted, but at least they left you be, and they have done no harm thus far.
Yeah, I don't.
But Donnie, I've been with you, since you first got online and relayed your first encounter. Very first horrible encounter. And I'm a person who had an aggressive encounter as well.
Yeah,
the PTSD does come back. It does get triggered. I've dealt with it a lot, but somehow, Donnie, sometimes I think it was a real blessing and a miracle we survived. We're a couple of the lucky ones that survived to tell the story.
Oh yeah.
I don't think it's just a matter of, if they wanted to hurt you, they would. I think there's divine intervention involved when you run into an aggressive one and you live to tell the story.
Yeah, and that encounter that I had, Mariana.
Yeah, too big, too angry. That's right.
I went by myself during the week because although the guys worked, I always went by myself to check the traps. I got traps down in the swamp, 500 yards off the field, way out in the thick. And I'd go out there at night by myself. I'd walk that 1,400 acres down that field and down that back by myself to the traps and never had a fear. And that one night, I had my friend right up there with me. I had her drive. I didn't want to go alone. And I don't know why. I never had that feeling that I didn't want to be there alone.
Didn't want to go alone.
It was so intense that if she wouldn't have went, I wouldn't have went over there. But I had to because it had been like 3 days since I checked the traps. And the pigs, they'll eat up and drink everything in the trap the first day. And they're not going to survive more than 3 days, and they'll start killing each other. And it's cruel, it's inhumane. And so every 3 days, we make sure the traps are filled with water and they have food. So when we come back, if they're in it, because we don't go in there just because we trap them all, we don't kill everything in the trap.
Right. You're a responsible trapper,
Yeah, well, it's unethical to kill. Even they're wild pigs. They're aggressive, but you have a mama that's nursing babies. You kill her, all the babies die. And they're going to suffer. Their death's going to be horrible. If she's pregnant, you kill her. You've just killed, she may have 20 inside of her. And so when we come back, the boars we do remove. But the females, the young ones, the babies, we turn them loose. We weren't supposed to because of the FWC, the Game and Fish Commission. They want you to kill everything. If you find a nest with newborn babies, they want you to kill them. And I'm not going to do that. But that night, I had a strong feeling not to go alone. And she wasn't going to go with me at first. And I said, look, you can stay in the car. I'll leave the car running. You'll be in the air condition. I'm only going to check the one trap. because the other traps are fine. It's just that one. I've got to check it. And she stayed in the car, and as soon as I got on the trail, I went 20 feet from the car. I could hear him beside me. And I never thought it was anything humanoid. But I heard the steps. It was definitely bipedal. But in my mind, I was trying to twist it into a pig or a deer or something.
Anything but the abnormal. That's right.
Yeah. And when I come back, when I was headed back to the cars, when he stepped out behind me, and I was expecting a bear. And when I turned around, it wasn't a bear. And my mind just went blank. I didn't know. First thing I thought of was caveman. And that was where, in the beginning, that's what I called them, was cavemen. You know, the feet weren't, I hear the word Bigfoot, and it's almost feel embarrassed saying that. Because, he may have big feet, but his body matches his build. His feet aren't big for him. But it's, everyone I've seen, with the exception of the one just recently, they all look like cavemen to me. I mean, they all
and photos and films never do justice as to what you, the eyewitness, saw eye to eye, or saw out in the open. You know what you saw. You might, and we put a label on it that it's a Bigfoot, it's a Sasquatch. No, it didn't have a snout. No, that wasn't a Dogman. We have to have a way of identifying what it is we saw. We come up with words for it, and so did the natives. And while I'm rambling, I want to say hi to Rosie and Kim. Congrats, Rosie, on your first day of school today. And I love y'all.
They should still
love you all.
If they're still awake. We absolutely love you, and I'm glad.
I really wanted to share. It just really shook me up the way that deer lost an antler. The back of my mind, what I'm thinking, Donnie. I'm thinking the creek was flooded. I'm thinking that a squatch or something reached out, grabbed that one antler, popped it like a wine cork.
Oh yeah,
and that deer was off like a rocket, whether it lost an antler or not, and run right slap into a pickup truck.
I'll give you an idea of something to try. It's getting them on game camera is just about impossible, and it's because supposedly they can see the IR light.
And, well, I'm doing good just to afford gas for the truck lately, Tony.
Well, you can. The pawn shops this time of the year, you can pick up game cameras for $10, $15 at the pawn shops. There's nothing wrong with them. But if you go looking for one, find one that has a time lapse mode. In time lapse, you can set like for it to start at say 5 p.m. and then turn off at 5 a.m. You can set it
right, the dark 30 of the night. Yeah.
Yeah, but on time lapse, it does not use the IR light, and you can.
You don't think that'd aggravate them if I put one of those out behind the back of my house, shooting across my grapevine and through the thick of the woods? I know they're crossing around and playing around.
Whether it's not putting out that light, that motion sensor.
Okay.
Those are turned off, and it'll take a picture if you set it for every 5 seconds or every 2 minutes. If you set it for every minute, then once every minute, it'll take a picture, whether there's anything in front of it or not. And if you got a view that you can see 100 yards away, it'll be on the camera. If anything crosses out there, and you can set it on that time lapse where it just, if something moves in front of it between pictures, it's not going to get it. It'll only get it when it takes the picture because it's not emitting. The motion sensors are turned off on time lapse. But I've caught some really weird stuff, not Sasquatch, but something that looked like a mix between a wild pig and a panther. And I don't know what it was. It was about probably 50 yards from the camera. Very large, very long. It was probably waist high, which is big. It's about the size of a full-grown pig, but it was 7 or 8 feet long. And
Donnie, Pappy Two Bears brought up a subject that Well, it's not easy to say this, and it is easy to say this. You know, there's a lot of us that think perhaps there's some things that have been created underground that are just getting let above ground.
Oh yeah, I believe that.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
know,
I
I
really
think
believe that.
Pappy Two Bears is spot on some of that too. You know, they unlock the
Oh, good night, Tina.
genome.
I just seen my sister was in the chat. She said good night.
Oh,
I didn't know she was there. I'm sorry. Yeah.
all right. Well, I'm not going to keep you much longer. I wanted to share, but that metal sound, that really bugged me, Donnie.
Yeah, I've
You
been
know,
hearing it, and I caught it again just recently, and somebody had emailed me. I don't remember who it was, but mentioning they heard it too.
and it's
And
solid. It was like steel on steel. I mean, I've worked
yeah,
construction in my life. It was solid. It was fast. It was loud, and it was quick. And it was
yeah,
just once.
I've been hearing it. That's the way I've been hearing it. It's just one clank, but the areas that I've heard it, every area I've heard it except for two areas. I think it was only two places that actually that have a farm nearby. The other areas, it's thousands of acres of swamp and woods. And being the only one out there, where the sounds are coming from is from the swamp. And it's extremely loud, and it is without a doubt it's metal on metal. And I don't know what it is. I have
Well, there's
no
some
idea.
reason me and you had to make the connection on that sound tonight because that really bugged me. You know,
Yeah,
it's one
I
thing to
wouldn't
hear
have. I
a
wouldn't have even
tree knock.
thought about it if I wouldn't have got the email the other day. One of our brothers here had emailed me about that sound, and I got to thinking back. And then when you mentioned it, it kind of confirmed what I've been hearing all these years, and I never put it together as being anything other than somebody is possibly out here. But why are they clanking two pieces of metal together? And it's always one loud clank. And I just,
That's all it was. And yeah, my neighbors don't have any new farm equipment. They don't have any new, you know, I pay attention to a lot. And no, this was just freaky out of the blue happened. You know, nobody was outside and out and about. It was, I don't know, it was dark 30. It was well past dark 30, you know, when it happened. It's as if whatever what did it was watching me and my son come inside.
yeah,
And then let
I
me
believe
know
it.
the minute that I'm visible through a kitchen window, you know, out the back field. You know, out the back, I'm visible from a kitchen window. The kitchen window sits well high, you know, it's high up.
Oh, yeah.
I would have to have at least a 10, 12 footer to stand there and gaze at me through the window. You
Yeah,
know,
I
through
don't
that
like,
window anyway. Yeah,
I don't
that's
like
not what I
being near
want to
the
see while
windows.
I'm washing dishes, Donnie. You
No,
know?
no, definitely not. And I hate being near the windows at night. I got a window right here, but I've got a very big curtain over it. I keep it
Yeah.
closed. I
Yeah.
hate being near them, and I'm not worried about people. It's the other things. And a year or 2 years ago, I went into the bathroom, and at night my eyes are really sensitive, and at night I do fine. During the daytime, the sunlight just really drives me crazy. It always has. And so if I get up in the middle of the night, I don't turn on any lights. I go through in the dark. Your eyes are adjusted to it because you've been asleep, obviously. And so I got up, went to the bathroom, and right here is the window. Right beside me is the window, and there's a street light way down the highway, but where it's kind of cast a glow through the trees just enough. It's got like a milk appearance on that. It's one of the windows that it's not clear. It's a bathroom window.
Hazy.
It's really hazy. If someone's like 5 feet from it on the outside, you'd never see them unless it's
Oh,
daytime and they move. Then you can see them. But if somebody's 5 feet from it and don't move, you wouldn't never know they were there. And I was using the restroom. I'm a foot and a half. My head is a foot and a half from the window. And from my peripheral, I thought I seen the window light getting kind of light. And I just turned and looked because it's right there. and it looked like a head right there at the glass.
Oh, great!
And
Having your privacy violated like that, yeah. What you
well,
gonna do?
they can't see in, because the window, the design of the window, you just can't see through it.
But
But
they sensed you were there.
they knew I was there, and I don't know how, but I kept blowing it off that maybe the trees are moving and the light shining from up the road through the leaves is causing it. And so I finished up my business and I leaned over to flush the toilet, and it got really light. You know, that spot, I could see it out of my peripheral. And when I turned and looked at it, it looked like a face was right there. And when I turned, it backed up like it just, and I thought, you know, I just woke up. My brain's foggy, and it's got to be just I'm not seeing clearly, but I had that feeling. I got creeped out from it, and I scared myself.
Oh, I
So
guess
I went to
so.
bed. Well, the next morning I had filmed it, and I want to say it was about 2 years ago, but I went out there to check the next morning for footprints, and there wasn't no prints anywhere, just goat tracks everywhere. But next to the window, there's two windows at that end of the house. One is the hall bathroom, which is like the community bathroom. The other one is the bathroom in our bedroom. And I went to the hall bathroom. I use that one I don't know why, but it's just the one that I use. And when I went outside our bedroom, the bathroom there were two really large handprints, and they were on each side of the glass, probably that far. I mean, yeah, probably that far from the window.
So
I mean,
it really did lean forward and take a good look at you, huh?
well,
What it could.
it wasn't the window that in the bathroom I was in. It was on the other bathroom. But when you could see the all five fingers, you could make out the entire hand, and it was a big hand. But I reached up, and I could put my fingers about right there on the print. If I stood on my tiptoe, I could reach. I couldn't reach the whole print, but about that high. But those prints, it smelled. It had a petroleum, almost a chemical smell to it. It wasn't
Like light or
lighter.
not, maybe?
Nope. It wasn't lighter. It had it was a very musty.
Methane.
No, I don't know. I can't put.
Methane
Can't
comes from
remember.
like an old timey drain well on a house where your sewage runs
Yeah,
out in.
it wasn't that. It was
Nasty smell.
if you ever smelled someone who eats a lot of garlic, but they
Oh
don't
wow.
use deodorant.
Oh, had they been eating lots of great wild green onions?
Yeah,
Yeah.
and they have that real musty stink. That's sort of what it smelled like. It had like a chemical smell to it. Um, I don't know.
Wow. That's an odd smell for anybody. That's new for someone to say it smelled like that.
We're going to remove them people in the chat. I'm sorry, I wasn't ignoring you. I cannot. I'm getting an error on. If one of the moderators is still here, whoever's putting that love chat stuff in the chat, would you please block them? My computer's acting up.
You do have to hide those, okay? You can't just, you can delete their message, but their title is provocative. And that's putting it mildly. Yeah.
Need that.
That one's been hitting all the channels lately, Donnie. I didn't read it, but I'll bet I know which one you're talking about. I've seen that one hit just about everybody's channel lately. I really appreciate you giving me the time of night to discuss.
Oh, absolutely.
What happened yesterday. It shook me up. I mean, we have things that happen, and that just wasn't normal. That just wasn't a normal occasion of a deer jumping the road missing one antler.
Oh yeah, that don't
it just
happen.
wasn't.
I've seen too many times with the dogs chasing the deer, however fast the dog is going to run, the deer is usually just a little bit faster. The deer's always several steps ahead. He won't let the dog catch him, and the dogs aren't going to catch him, but they never run wide open. I've never seen one run fast enough to pretty much kill himself by running into a vehicle. And we got
Right.
hit last year by a big 8-point just up the road, and he dented the side of the truck in. He hit the ground, he jumped up and took off across the highway. And
yeah, I had to warn people, wait a minute, he's not quite dead yet. He can jump up and hurt you folks.
oh yeah, we tried
Yeah.
to track that one that ran into our truck, and he was gone. He was fine. There was no blood, but he hit us hard, and I seen him coming, but it was too late. He was going so fast, and the guy behind me, he stopped too, because he thought, being behind me, he thought that it hit the front of the truck, but he never seen it take off across the road. So he assumed it was either in the cab with us or it was under the truck.
Oh,
But yeah,
wow.
it didn't break his horn, and he hit us head on, and he dented the side of that truck in, the fender and the door. He hit
Yeah,
the
that's what was odd. That deer ran right slap into to the driver tire and the driver door. That guy opened his truck door, went to open his truck door, and you could hear it go, "Rrrt," and it's a brand new truck, Donnie,
oh geez.
Yeah, you
That's
could hear
crazy.
it had wedged his driver door rather nicely. But at least nobody was hurt. But it was just odd. I've seen a lot of deer, and it's just odd for an antler to be just totally a velvet antler to be just totally ripped out of a deer's head.
Yeah, I've
And I
never
didn't see
seen
any
it but one
ligaments.
time.
I didn't see any brain matter. It was a clean, and it was bleeding right at the hole of the antler.
Yeah, that's
There was.
all the way through the bone.
It bugged me that I couldn't find the antler too.
It was probably back in the woods back there behind the house.
Well, I don't really know, Donnie. All I know is that, we need each other. Like you said earlier, if y'all got a story, you want to share with Donnie, he'll gladly post that link for you. You might not read it right
Oh
away that you want to chat, but
yeah,
he'll
look
gladly,
with
he knows y'all, he'll gladly, y'all don't be shy, we're just people, you
that's
know.
right. That's
And
right. Matter of
we've
fact,
got, if we can't vent and share with each other in a normal way, I mean, I really, I really admire and thank Donnie a lot for just being the person that he is. Okay, he's easy to talk with. And no,
thank you.
it's not a production. It's not a big presentation. You just can get up and be your normal self, and we all need to share our experiences with each other. And that's the
Oh yeah.
best way to do it is find somebody who understands, who won't ridicule you, and hear it. And y'all don't forget to help the goats out. Give him a thumbs up. I noticed there was quite a few people in chat, but I didn't notice too many thumbs up, y'all. All I gotta do is close out chat and hit that thumbs up.
Thank you so
But
much for that. And I just seen where Butch had put this on there, and that's what we were talking about. It takes a lot to pull the antler off a deer's head. Uh, especially in velvet, um, it's not until late in March, and it's probably the same where you're at. Uh,
there.
that's when they start that the bone starts disconnecting from the skull, and then they shed them. And
Yeah, I have a whole herd of deer that hangs out in my yard,
oh yeah,
crosses
yeah,
it, and it's like I'm used to seeing them, but not like that, Donnie. My brothers
yeah.
hunted a lot. I hunted in the Ozarks, and it's like, no, I've never seen a deer antler just rip slap out of a deer's head. And they when it
Not in
by the
velvet.
time those antlers fall off, there's no wound left on that deer's head, still
No,
open. No,
no.
and so it was just. and can't find it nowhere. There's not a bit of blood on that truck. Now, mind you, Donnie, I'm very observant. I looked that truck over, okay?
I
I
imagine
was
you
looking
did.
for blood for that antler, and I looked the area over for that antler for a while, okay?
It'd been nice to have found it.
Well,
Just
every time I pass that area of where the deer had to have jumped the road on,
you're
to
looking
hit
for
that
it.
truck, every time I pass that area in my vehicle, that patch of woods down in that creek area runs along a school as well and runs back into some woods to a creek head behind my house too. And it's just so dark. When you look
Oh yeah,
into that thick patch of woods, it might as well just be midnight and no moon out. You
yeah.
and I do catch myself looking at dark patches of woods to see if anything moves out of the shadows and into the light. Do you catch
Oh
yourself
yeah,
doing that too?
yeah. I look for it, but I don't want to see it.
Well,
I
yeah.
know it's going to freak me out, and I'm going to get scared, and I
Well,
hate to
I've been
see it.
sensing that the Squatch were over there during the daytime quite a bit. And I've done that for years. It's just not a creek. I want to walk across the street, and the woods are too thick. You'd really
Oh
need machetes, and you'd need snake boots up to your chin, okay? you know?
yeah, right. That's right. Oh,
Well,
JD's
I love
anything.
you. Thank you for the time, and y'all
I
give
love you,
Standing
Pearls.
Goat
Thank you.
Rescue, all the moral support and the help you can give him with the goats, because every year, there's it never fails. There's times a year he gets over inundated with animals to rescue, and he always needs
Yeah,
blankets. He always
yeah.
needs things to help his goats.
We
Okay.
go through a lot of blankets and towels, old sheets. So if any of you, yes, without a doubt, if you have any old washcloths or old sheets, old blankets, any type of materials we could use for wounded animals, we go through a lot of them, especially uh, the season coming. Uh, December, the end of December, it usually starts and it goes up until about April is usually the worst time. And we go through a lot of bandaging materials, but it's just the animals that we rescue. And I don't know why it's worse during the winter, but it is. During the summer, it's usually disease that we're dealing with. Uh, but
Well, I am going to bid you adieu. Thanks for giving me all the time you gave me tonight, Donnie. I
oh,
really
thank you.
appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. It's always a pleasure seeing you. We
You
love
know,
you.
and
Y'all have
all
a
of you down in
wonderful evening.
chat and everybody that sees me in other chat rooms and says hello, I love you all. We're all human, and we've got to spread some love, okay? And just keep the smiles going, okay? Love you all.
That's right.
All right.
Absolutely. You have a good evening. God
Good
bless you.
night.
And I'll definitely see you soon.
All right. Thanks, Donnie.
Thank you, Pearls. All right. I'm going to post the link up. It's in the chat. I just put it up in there again. My computer's running really slow. There it goes. So if you have something you'd like to share with us, anything at all, you are absolutely welcome to jump on board with me for a little bit if you want to and share your story, or friend or relative, uh, anyone that you know that's had encounters with any of the strange, the Sasquatch, the ghosts, the dogmen, the UFOs, any of it. If there's anything you'd like to share with us to help bring a little awareness to this subject and to the people that are here, there's a large portion of us here that have encountered most of these things, and a lot of us have encountered all of them. And anything you can do to share what you've experienced, it could possibly save someone from going through it one day. And that was the whole reason I finally came forward a few years back and told my story. Took a lot of ridicule for it, but it was worth it. If it helps one person, then I've done my part. And that's something to feel good about. I seen where Scott was posting stuff on there. I missed the majority of what was put in the chat. So if you have anything, if y'all have anything you want me to put up on the screen, or if you have any questions, put them in caps and I'll throw them up there right quick, and I'll do my best to answer it if I can. I'm going to be sharing the pictures that were sent to me. I seen them this morning. It's been about 2 days since I checked my emails. We've been just wide open trying to get caught up, and I haven't been getting finished up until after dark each day. And this morning I finally jumped around to it. Oh, Brother Flat Rock is here. Awesome. Always good to see you, man. Definitely good to see everybody that's here tonight. Thank you so much for hopping over here with us. But yeah, the pictures that he sent was when I took the game camera out a few days ago. Putting up another game camera. I think that's what the title of the video was. When I got the camera installed and I started walking down that trail, that little road back there, there was there's a figure that was past the blue barrel out in the road. And he had told me, watching the video, and he kept playing it back, this figure appeared out there, and as I was approaching him, then it dissolved. But I've got the screenshots, and I used one of them for the thumbnail for this show tonight, and tomorrow I'm going to put it together, and I'm going to try to put it up in a little video if I can, but if not, I'll have it uploaded as a post to where you guys can check out those pictures. It's really fascinating. I do not believe that it's one of the big guys. It looks like a shadow man to me, a shadow person. I see where Don Moore, there he is. Don says, do you have blinds in your bathroom windows now? No, Don, I do not. We need to, but the bathroom windows, we've seen faces in the windows just a few times. It hadn't been a whole lot. But the glass, it's not clear. It's not painted glass, but it's got a milky look to it. Even in the daytime, if someone is out 5 or 6 feet from the window, if they're not moving, you can't see them. But if they move by, you can make out the color. You can't tell what it is, but you could definitely make out movement. And I don't know what they call that type of glass, but that's what's on the bathroom windows. I try not to go during the night unless I just can't hold it. I'm getting old. When you get old, everything starts running either slower or faster, and the bathroom part runs faster. But I try not to even look in the windows at night. I don't like going in there. I'd rather go outside into the edge of the woods than to, well, no, I don't want to do that. But I don't like being near the window. It scares me ever since that face that one night. I've got a scare. I've got a fear of it for sure. I'm trying to catch up on the chat. You guys are so far ahead of me. Hey, Mindy, I just seen you had made it. Brother Jeff is here. Awesome. Awesome. Jeff had helped me, guide me through getting the truck put back together, because I don't have any idea what I'm doing on that. I'm just checking the chat. If there's anything, if y'all have anything you want to share, any questions that you want to ask, if you'd like to come on real quick and share anything with us, I'll post the link again in the chat right quick, and it's pretty self-explanatory. You click on it, and you just have to put in the name that you want people to see, what's on the bottom of the screen, like what's right here in the corner. And it's up to you to turn the camera on or not. You can leave your camera off and nobody can see you, and you can use a fictitious name so nobody knows who it is. If you have anything you want to share, there's the link. I just put it back in there again. But I do want to thank everyone for being here. And for those of you that have sent prayers out for our brother Tommy, Tommy's doing okay. The surgery was successful. He's in his room now, resting off and on. For those that don't know, he had to have a partial amputation. And he's looking forward to getting in the woods for the spring hunting season where he's at. So please keep prayers going out for our brother Tommy. He's part of us here. He's one of us. And there's so many of us that are dealing with severe health issues. And recently we lost our sister, Sandra Rains DeBusk. She had that old nasty cancer that garbage got her. But she's not gone. She's just on the next journey. She's a step ahead of us. But keep prayers out for Sandra's family, please. And our brother Scott and anyone else that are needing any prayers. You know, if we don't get it up tonight, send me an email. I got an email at the bottom of the screen right now. And if you don't want your name mentioned, just please let me know. I will not give out personal details as far as anything that calls somebody to locate you. I definitely won't do that. Good night, Lisa. It's good to see you. I don't think I even seen you in the chat earlier. I'm sorry. But to those that are leaving now, thank you so much for hanging out with us tonight for the articles. We've got more coming. Brother Don has already put them in the mail. They are en route here, and I should receive them sometime between tomorrow and Saturday. And I'm going to try to put them on a show, hopefully the night they arrive. Tonight, I finally had enough time to put a banner up a little bit early before actually going live. And this hasn't been often lately that I've been able to do that. But things are improving. The truck's running now, so that takes a load off of me. And I'm going to be taking a little bit of extra time here in these next few weeks to try to get up. I got to get back to the property. And there's some stuff I found when I was up there recently. And I filmed it. The memory card for that other GoPro died on me. I reformatted it and I thought that fixed it. And I got out there and filmed, and I have about 30 seconds of footage when I first hit the record. And I just happened to look down after about 2 hours of walking around. I looked down, and where it tells your memory card how much free memory that you have remaining, it didn't give me a number. There was a red box with an X to it, and the memory card died. And so I've got to get another memory card for that one. But I still got the one camera that has the good memory card, so I'll be going back out there in the next day or two. Max, I did not get your email, brother. I sure did not. I see your message in the chat right now. Unless it went to the spam box. I had 2 emails recently that I found that were almost a month old, and they were in the spam box. I will absolutely check it. I'll check it tonight if I remember. When I get off here, I got to take the dogs out and just take care of about 5 minutes worth of stuff before I go to bed. But if not, I'll definitely check it in the morning and let you know. I did not. But I would absolutely be interested in that, Max. Definitely. Thank you. That would be amazing. Yeah, yes, that one uses the. I thought I had one up. There it is. I think you're referring to the camera that uses these bigger cards. And I'm talking to Max. Yeah, this is only a 1 gig. This was in a very old game camera that my pop left me when he passed away. And that card's no good no more, but it's just sentimental. I keep it for that reason only. But I think that's the card you're referring to. That's most of my cameras are using those big ones, except for that little Browning camera. It uses a tiny one. Oh, Johnny on the spot. It's good to see you. And it's good to see you. I just happened to catch that, and there's Pappy. Oh wow, I'm gonna put this up. Y'all know, we pray for everyone, anyone who needs prayers, and I just seen that from Pappy. He said, "Yep, y'all's prayers sure worked, and my prostate cancer seems to be taken care of, and I'm doing really well. Praise the report. Thank you, Creator and Prayer Wars. Absolutely. Yeah, thank you all for sending prayers out for our brother Pappy. That's he's an amazing man. He's been part of us for a long time, and I highly, highly love that man. I love everyone here tonight. We've got an amazing family. Some of the greatest people that's ever stepped on YouTube are right here, right now, and I am so grateful that you guys are here with me. Max, thank you. Thank you so much. That is awesome. Can y'all hear that? I don't know if the microphone's going to pick it up. That's outside. I don't know what it was. It's too dark to look out the window. Oh, I hate it. Y'all lost your lease. Are you close to Florida, Max? We're up I'm in the Panhandle area, sort of between Panama City and Mariana. I'm out in the sticks. If you were down here in this area, I've got a few areas I could take you. As soon as season gets here, we get out there and try to get us a pig or a deer or something. Yep, absolutely love you, Brother Butch. I love everyone here. Thank you all. God bless you. Thank you all. Lana Joe Anderson Furlong. Yeah, I just happened to see that. That's her Johnny on the spot. But one of my good friends, I haven't seen in many years. He lives in Louisiana right now. His name is Daniel Furlong. And that's the second time I've seen the name Furlong. And it just dawned on me. I just happened to catch it. That is awesome. Daniel's about crazy, but he's a great guy. I'd love to see him again. Awesome. Oh, you're in Pennsylvania. Wow. Yeah, you're way up there. You're a little bit, a little far to drive for a hunt. If you ever get down this way, definitely look me up. I'd love to take you out, take you to some of the spots that we go to. Maybe even put you on some wild pigs over at the lease. That place is ate up with them. I'm going to be putting out a camera up at the property, very close to where Mark and Carrie set their camp up. When I went up there with them that night, I left about 10 o'clock. It was just getting a little too much for me, hearing something walking in the water of the creek. It was bipedal footsteps, very, very loud. Me and Mark were both sitting there, and I heard it, and I don't want to insinuate that everything that I'm hearing is bipedal. And sometimes if someone else is hearing a quadruped and you say that's bipedal footsteps, you'll plant that thought in them, and then they will immediately believe it's biped. And so I didn't say anything. And Mark said, do you hear those footsteps? And I said, yeah, I can hear them. I mean, they were loud, probably 40 or 50 feet from us, pretty close. And Mark said, man, that's bipedal steps. And it was obvious. It was really, really obvious. But one of the camera that I did the review on recently, the Woe Sports camera, it has time-lapse mode. I'm going to set it up to where it's shooting down the creek instead of up on the hill. The creek, the banks go up and they roll, like up toward a hill. So you're 8-9 foot below the ground level where the water is. I'm going to take the camera down in there, put it up about 5 or 6 feet above the water, but I'm going to aim it towards it's looking down the creek where we heard them footsteps, and we heard them several times. But I'm going to put it on time lapse mode and get it to where it'll start right at dark and take a picture every minute until the battery runs dead, and see if I can catch what's coming through there. In the time lapse mode, it doesn't use the motion sensor on it. The PIR sensors, they'll be off. It'll just snap a picture at whatever time frame that I set on it. And if I catch anything out of the ordinary, or if I catch any wildlife, I will absolutely be sharing that with everyone. That is awesome. Oh, there's Harvey Weinstein. God bless you, brother. It's good to see you. Barry's here. And that's awesome. What a night. Oh, Lisa's still here. See that? Yeah, we're fixing to close up. Lisa, thank you so much. Thank all of you for jumping over here and joining me tonight. I absolutely appreciate it. And I had a really good time. It's always so good to see everyone. But we have more articles coming. Brother Don Moore has already put them in the mail. They'll be here between tomorrow and Saturday. As soon as I get them, hopefully that night, we're going to get some articles put out. And if any of you, if you have an encounter that you would like to come on board with us on a live show and share it yourself, or if you want me to read it out to everyone, do a video on it or something, just send me an email and let me know. If you've got an encounter and you want to remain anonymous, but you would like to share it with the rest of us here, just email me and let me know. And I will absolutely be sure that your name, none of your information is shared with anyone, and we will get your encounter out there. And it's it does not have to be just Bigfoot, Sasquatch. It could be anything out of the ordinary. If you were chased by a demon or a ghost or a UFO, or these other crawler creatures, or anything out of the ordinary. The Pukwudgie, and I don't even know what that one is. I don't have a clue what that thing is, but if you've had anything like that, any type of encounter, or someone that you know and you'd like to share it with us, reach out to me at standinggoatsrescue@yahoo.com, and I will most definitely put it up. We will get it out, and it's all to just bring awareness to those who don't know. There's probably a few people that are here with us. I think 90% of you all are knowers in the existence of all of these strange oddities, but we do get the occasional one that it's not that they're a naysayer, they're not a knower yet, but they're not one to discredit it either. They haven't witnessed it, and if they're getting out in these areas by themselves, out in the middle of nowhere, out in the forest, they need to be made aware of the existence of these things that could possibly, be detrimental to their life. I don't know why this clown keeps putting this mess in the chat. I cannot, something's going on with my computer. So if any of the moderators are here, please block that love chat mess. This is a grown-up site, and we don't need adult children posting nasty stuff here. Yep, bot alert, absolutely. Guys, thank you so much, all of you. Thank you for being here, and I will try my very best to post a banner ahead of time before the show. I'll try to at least get an hour notice for you. We do the next one. Thank you, Scott. Thank you tremendously, brother. Thank you. And if there's anything, if any of you have prayer requests, anything going on that you would like to put a prayer requests out for the prayer warriors here. The people that are here with us, our brothers and sisters that are sending these prayers out for people, the success rate and these people being impacted positively by the Holy Spirit, the Creator, has been insane, incredibly high. And that's thanks to all of you that are sending these prayers. And I want to thank you on behalf of those that you've prayed for. And I want to thank you on behalf of me and my family for the prayers you've all seen. Thank you so very much. Okay, Gene, that's no problem. Thank you so very much. That is something I'm going to be doing on the next show, which I'm hoping it'll be Friday. The mail should get here Friday with this package, if all goes well. But I am going to be doing a shout out for our family here to see if any of you are going to be interested in being a moderator for us here to help keep the junk out of the chat. The people that are attacking folks, we don't get many of them, but we're starting to get this sickness, this porn garbage showing up. And just to have a few extra people in there that'll catch it and block it and get them out, and not put them in timeout, but just remove them altogether is what we're looking to do. But yeah, just think about it. If you're interested in being a moderator, you do not have to be here for every show. That's the whole purpose of having multiple moderators. If you happen to be here during one of the shows and you see something wrong, you've got the power to do something about it. And that's what it's for. You don't have to be here for every show because you're a moderator. It just helps when you are here and you catch something, you can handle it. For some reason, I cannot. Now on my phone, I can remove them if I'm doing the show on my phone, but I can't read the comments are so small I can't read them, and I have to do it on the computer. But I can't do anything with the people that posted it. So, Gene, thank you so much. I wonder. Let me see if. Okay, I thought I could. I think I'm going to have to. What did that do? That put a star by the. I'm trying to figure out. I know how to do add the moderators from the phone. I don't know how to do it from the computer. It's not the same, but it's all good. Thank you, Max. Thank you so much. Well, folks, thank each and every one of you. I love all of you. And again, if there's anything that I can do to help you, if there's anything I can do at all to help you in any way, please let me know. The easiest way to reach out to me is through the email. I'm working normally from just around 6 o'clock in the morning. I start, and usually I haven't been finishing up till about 8 o'clock in the evening. But I do check the emails. I got behind. I was 2 days behind. I checked them first thing this morning, and I seen the message from Tommy about his surgery. And right away, I did a video. I was half asleep, so you have to excuse the way I look and sounded. That's the way I look and sound every morning. So it's not nothing out of the ordinary. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you so very much for blocking that. But I just want to give thanks and appreciation to all of you. You guys and gals deserve the praise for what you've done for praying for our other family members here. And for those that we don't know, that's what we do as followers of the Most High Creator, Yahweh, God, Allah, whatever you choose to call him. We serve one Most High God, all of us, regardless of your religion or how you choose to believe. We've got the same Father. And with that being said, the people we don't know that are in need of prayer, it's what we do. We send prayers out for people, and God honors us for it. And that's a wonderful thing. And I absolutely honor all of you. Thank each and every one of you. Denise is here. Thank you so much. And I will absolutely add you, Denise. I will certainly add you. And I'll work on that tomorrow, because I got to work on that other little video. I'm going to show you guys the pictures that Steve sent, that he took off that last video, a video I just put up about the game camera. I want y'all to see those pictures and give me your input on it. Looks like a shadow man to me, but I never seen it with my own eyes. When I was filming that, I did not see it, and it is very clear. That's the screenshot, the thumbnail that I used for this video. So after the video's over, look back at the thumbnail that I used on the front of it, and that's one of the screenshots that he had sent me. And he took a series of them where this thing appeared on the trail in front of me, and it looks like it sort of moves to the left, and then it just kind of vaporizes. Very strange, very, very strange. And I do not believe it's pareidolia. I've seen a lot that is pareidolia, but I don't think that is. But I'd like to hear you guys' input on that. I could be very, very wrong. My eyes are not good, but it's definitely something. But thank you all. And Hiker's made it. Yeah, we're fixing to close house. I'm sorry. But it's so good to see you. Thank you for hopping over here. We're going to be doing another live here sometime between tomorrow and Saturday. The other articles should arrive by Friday. The last couple ones he sent came early, so I'm hoping these come early, and we'll be doing another show, and try to get some of you all who have had encounters to come on and share with us what you experienced, what you witnessed, or what you have known someone else to witness. If you have anything you'd like to share, just think about it. You're not forced to do it, but it could possibly help someone. But I love you all. God bless each and every one of you. And I want to throw a quick prayer out for those that are in need. Gold coins here. That is awesome. But I'm going to close this out real quick in a short prayer, and then I will be headed to the hay. Our Father who art in heaven, I bow my head tonight, and I give thanks to you for this amazing evening that you blessed us with, that you've allowed all of our brothers and sisters to join here tonight to just hang out and have a good time in this digital realm. Father, I ask that you bless each and every one of them with all of their needs, including their health and prosperity and the love and joy in their lives, whether it be with their family and friends or if it's with you alone. Father, please look after all of those who are in need of help. Watch over our brother Tommy as he's healing through this surgery. And Father, lay hands on all of those who are in need. The man who had the accident in front of our house, we ask that you intervene in his situation, that you bless his family to receive that inner peace, knowing that he's where he needs to be in accordance to your will. We honor you, we love you, we bless you, and as always, we glorify you with all that's within us. And I give great praise and honor to you. In Christ Jesus, Yeshua's name I pray. Amen. Amen. But yeah, if there's anything that y'all need, if there's anything you need at all, please reach out to me, and I will do my very best to help you any way that I can. If you're needing prayers, if you're needing help in any other way, if you'd like for me to post something on the channel for our family here, to get whatever help we can get for you, send me an email, reach out to me, and I will absolutely do what I can to help you. You know, we're in this together. We can't leave together when our time comes, but we will be together again on the other side. It's just another journey. We got to end this one at some point and get on the next one. The next one's going to be the good one. We ain't got to worry with all the goofiness that's going on in the world today. Definitely. Y'all have a good night. God bless you. I love you, and I'll definitely be seeing you soon. Remember, until that time, be safe. Good night.